Hey, welcome to the Hell Has an Exit podcast. I'm your host, Brian Alzate. This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 833-999-1877 to speak to a specialist. The show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com. Hey guys, you're listening to episode 114. This is part 2 of the episode with Mario and Santi. If you haven't listened to part 1, we recommend you go back and listen to the first one. Sometimes people think that, like, if I found that perfect gym, I would, that would be the hit factor. If I found that perfect personal trainer, and it's like, bro, that's maybe 5% of getting in shape. 95% is your fucking effort. Your willingness, bro. It's like there's motherfuckers in jail right now working out for nothing.
I tell our clients, I'm like, I never went to treatment. Like, you don't need to go to treatment.
Exactly.
It's like, yo, you could also ride your bike to work.
Yeah.
You know? It's like you can get there a lot faster with a car, you know?
You want to go to treatment. You don't want to go to the place that I went to.
You
don't want to go to
proven the longer
it's a short luxury because you can't go to treatment centers forever. So it's like, you're either gonna take advantage of learning how to use this gun, or you're gonna learn how to fist fight out there. You know what I mean? So it's some people blow opportunities.
Yeah, I think also too, some people go into treatment and the misconception that they get is that they think that you're gonna get all your trauma healed and all your therapy done within these 21 days.
Bro.
It's like, I've been on this journey. I've been on this therapy journey for 12 years. You know what I mean? Fucking straight up trauma.
Yeah, you're the first person I know who got me into therapy, who was going to therapy.
I took my therapist on a fucking family retreat in December, dog. December, I brought the whole family together, dog. I got the therapist. I said, listen, dog, it's going to be mad trauma. I need to heal these traumas with my mom, with my son, everybody. I said, but I need you to be there from the second I get to the airport, right? And I said, I got you covered. All expenses and everything. Yo, it was one of the most therapeutic things, man. But I was healed. But anyways, going into that, it's a process, man. There's a maintenance aspect of people that don't take into consideration, man. Treatment's supposed to give you a break, an opportunity to get some clarity, you know what I mean, and find some kind of direction and get some advice. But you're not gonna heal something that took you years or fucking lifetime.
We plant seeds, man. I always tell everyone that work there, some of the clients go in there and they take out 3 people, but it's like, you always can make an impact, even if the worst client, we just eliminated one reservation they had, or
something.
Yeah. And you never, my first client, right? So how I got into treatment was I had just graduated FAU. We were having our second child, right? I was studying for the LSAT because I thought my dream was to go to law school.
Me too.
Yeah, and Nova was $75 a semester, right? And I had just had my second child. I was working at a movie theater, at a restaurant on top of the movie theater.
Just for the vibe.
Yeah. My boy James, he was a real estate guy. He saw this was 10 years ago, how treatment centers, halfway houses at the time were making a lot of money. If you have properties, you can rent them out. You can get so-and-so a room. But he wanted to open up this treatment center. And the only person he knew clean was me because I used to use with him. He was like a bartender. We used to hang out, do fucking lines, whatever. But he saw that I was clean. I had 5 years clean at the time. And he's like, yo, you're in recovery. Can you run this place for me? I was like, what are you paying? He's like, so blah, blah, blah. I'm like, bet, I could do that. I didn't know anything about treatment or anything. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just drive the vans. Let me take them to group. I'll be with the clients the whole time. So I started at the bottom and I did everything. The problem at that job was I stayed at the bottom because I wasn't learning the higher level stuff. But there I was always like, man, I could do it better than him. When someone runs a business and they're not an addict, he was a good guy. He wasn't doing anything to the clients or anything like that. But I was just like, I think I could run it better. In my head, I had a different vision for the place, And I was like, yo, one day that's like my dream, you know? Pretty cool because I never went to treatment, right? And then I had a friend at the time that went to FAU, and I knew his brother, and he had managed like a bunch of DaVitas, super smart kid. He's like, he was looking into to get into like an outpatient, not necessarily treatment, but just an outpatient thing. He had a little bit of money, and he's like, hey, do you want to partner with me? And I had like no money at the time, but I had the dream, right? And I was like, yeah, I know everybody. I know so-and-so. Like, I got a couple of the marketers' numbers and like here and there. We could fucking start our own. Like, I didn't know what I was signing up for, but we made it happen. You know, it's funny. That was my first partner. And he used to always compare us to DaVita. And DaVita is like a multi-billion-dollar company with all the, and he's like, DaVita, I'm like, yo, I don't care what DaVita. I'm like, dude, I'm using my mom's van to transport fucking kids. No joke. I use my mom's van to transport clients. My first client was one of these, he was actually a kid at the previous treatment center that I was trying to wake up. And he was from Connecticut, like young, little skinny kid, but thought he was a gangster. I was trying to wake him up for group one day. And he got up. He's like, yo, close that door behind you. I like closed it, and he's like, yo, I'm about to fuck you up. Like, you trying to wake me up, blah, blah, blah. And I got like real unspiritual, and I was like, no, I think I shut the door. That's what it was. I shut the door. And I was like, yo, what the fuck are you gonna do? I was like, dude, I've been in the gym like 10 years. I've been clean a long time now. And he's like, yeah, I apologize. I'm just like, just when I wake up, I'm a little angry. And like, he got real cool after that.
Yeah, we had a client the other day who like took his shirt off and was banging on the door or whatever. And like, whatever, we had to, like, we sent him out. But one of my other employees was like, bro, that guy was fine. He wasn't going to do nothing. But it's like, sometimes like we learn intimidation in using, you know, I used to do that when I was in places and I had a bad day or whatever. I would just scream and yell and act crazy. I wasn't going to do anything, bro. You know what I mean? But it's like, you have to kind of be an addict to kind of handle that situation and not feed into the intimidation and just be like, bro, if you swing, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, this client was a problem with everybody. I think he relapsed shortly. He was like hooking up with just a problem. And I was just like, dude, you know, at the time, you're just like, dude, this kid's trouble, blah, blah, blah. Dude, that kid ended up being my first client ever at the new treatment center. And we brought him out, and he's been humbled at this point. And he was like, yo, I'll do whatever you want me to. And he was our first client. That kid brought me like 3, he was at a previous, he knew a bunch of people. He got us like our first like 5 clients just from knowing people.
Was that the one we saw at the meeting the other day? Yeah, we saw him last Wednesday.
And like, yo,
and he's clean long term now?
He had his falls a couple times. He went back to Connecticut.
That's a process, though.
But like, I could see everybody. I just see everyone. I was like, yo, these kids are beautiful. Like, I just, there's no one that I'm like, that I don't see potential for.
Of course.
You know? I was like, yeah, you're fucking up right now. You're a fucking piece of shit right now. And like, each time that you try different things your way and it doesn't work, you're closer to the thing that's going to work, you know? Right. And now, yo, he's a tech at a treatment center. He's about to pick up 9 months. He looks good. He's clean shaven. He's showing up for his family. Like, yo, that's what I do, man.
That's awesome.
Like, this is what we do, you know? One of my best stories ever was my mom, right? It was just like me. You know how, like, everything comes full circle? I saw at my home group, Church on the Hill, on Friday night, 7 o'clock, right? This kid came in with his mom, and I thought it was his hot girlfriend, but it was his sister. They were there at the meeting, and I'm like, I could tell he's Spanish. And at the end for the white key tag, he like stumbles up, and I see he's like this big dude, and I used to see him at LA Fitness. And he was like this big dude, and then like he was like humbled, you know, like after a run, he used to be like a bodybuilder type dude. And I watched him, and you could see his Spanish mom was like encouraging him to pick up the white key tag. And I went up to him after the meeting because it reminded me of when my mom used to come to the meetings. And I'm like, yo, if you ever need me, here's my phone number. I'm actually at LA Fitness. I'm in my set. I'm listening to my music. I'm fucking on pre-workout, fucking doing my routine, sweating, feeling good. And I pocket dialed him. And I was like, oh, fuck, I hung it up. And I was like, I don't want nobody messing with me. I'm on like,
workout.
I'm in my workout. He calls me back, and I was like, yo, my bad. I didn't mean to call you. It was just a pocket dial. I got to go. He's like, wait. He's like, dude, I'm not doing well. And I was trying to blow him off and then, like my first thought's wrong, but then you're like, dude, this guy, he needs help. It's like, it's not your time, And then he's like, yo, I haven't been doing well, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yo, you should come to a meeting. Didn't hear from him, right? Like a month later, his mom calls me. She's like, yo, I saw you at the meeting. My son's not doing well. She was struggling and she wouldn't get me off the phone. And I was like, why don't you talk to my mom? Because my mom, at least at this point, has a little experience. I feel like you need Al-Anon or something. Yeah, because your son, and she's enabling him. And like, I'm trying to explain, but she kept talking to me in Spanish. And I defend myself in Spanish, but I can't keep going in Spanish that much, right? My mom actually wanted to do the 12-step call. And I'm like, dude, he's not ready. He's using. He's high right now. I'm not going over there. The kid was doing meth. So I'm like, I don't even have experience. Like, are they violent? I don't want to go there with my mom's like, no, we're going over there.
Wow.
We get to his house. It's his mom's house in Boca. Dude, I go in the room and it was like going into like a fucking scary movie. Like there's blood on the wall. There's blood all over the sheets because he's an IV user. And I guess he wasn't hitting. And he's on the bed and he's just like fucking coming off of meth. And he just didn't seem happy at all. Like he did not want me to be.
Yeah, of course.
And like I'm there. Like he barely knows me. I've had like one conversation with him. And I was like, yo, what's up, man? You're not doing too well. Like, why don't you go to treatment? He's like, no, it's just my mom fucking just won't let me sleep. And like, blah, blah, blah.
She don't want to wash my sheets.
And my mom was trying to kick some, like go to treatment. Like, this isn't going to end well. And I give it to him because he was really respectful to my mom. He wasn't like an asshole. He was very like, okay, I'll do this and that. We told the mom, we're like, yo, you can't let him in. Like, you're enabling him. He's just going to keep using because he's got a free place. And you could see how hard it is a family disease.
Of course.
100%. The family's sometimes sicker than the child. But my mom and we kind of told her what to do. The sister was very supportive. I feel like the sister roles in a family, they always know what the truth is.
Dude, my sister used to fuck my shit up.
My sister too.
Dude, I used to fake a drug test and be like, see, I told you I'm clean. My sister would be like, I don't give a fuck what that drug test says. You're fucking pale.
The sisters always know. And so she would be getting on the mom, and the mom would be like fighting with the sister because she didn't want to hear it. But then finally, she would call us crying, and she's like, I don't want him to die. He keeps knocking on the door. And like, I called the cops. Dude, he was homeless for a little while, right? And then one day, I get a call. He was at the FA. He would get Wi-Fi at FAU. He called me, and he's like, yo, I've been homeless at FAU. I just hang out at the library upstairs.
Wow.
So I picked him up from that FAU library, and I got him into detox. He was in treatment for a little while, did well. He's like, I got to move to Miami. I got to take this waiter job. He was like dabbling it, had another hard relapse. Everything that I was telling him not to do, it was like his first time in recovery and all this stuff. And he got a taste for it, but went right back out, was homeless back at the FAU library, OD'd on the 3rd floor.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Ambulance came, got him, Baker acted him. And his mom called me and she's like, yeah, he's fucking blah, blah, blah. We had been talking because he was already like, just talking crazy about, when someone's in early recovery and they're telling you their plans and you're like, dog, that ain't going to end well. But you can't, the train's already moving.
Yeah.
And
you're just
like,
asking you, they're telling you.
Yeah. And you're like, yo, this isn't going to move. This isn't going to end well. But then I called him, right? And he was in this Baker Act. And he's like, dude, how did you know I was in here? And I was like, yo, I told you this was going to happen, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, you were 100% right. And I was like, yo, what are you going to do about it? He's like, I'm willing to do anything. So I think at that time, I'm not sure if he still had insurance or whatever. We got him into a place. They picked him up. He always had problems with like immigration because he's from Venezuela. So he was always saying like, oh, this job's cool with me staying there, blah, blah, blah. He got clean and he's like, yo, I always wanted to be a tech. Will you give me a job? And I was like, I'm to the point where I'm like, yo, just talk to these guys because I don't want to bring people in and I don't deal with them. So this is the interview process. And they hired him. Yo, he's been with us for like 2 years. Wow. He went back to school.
That's so fire.
He's like almost a therapist.
Oh, cool.
Dude, he's jacked again. It's Adrian. He's like one of our best techs, man.
So cool.
And like he's like this big old guy, big fuck. And he's a sweetheart, man. And his family, his mom calls me like on every like Christmas and like, dude, he's back.
They think you're Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Like Rob's mom every 6 months. Oh, you saved my son's life.
No, and it goes back to my friend's dad, Mike. When I called him like last year crying, like, yo, I didn't know you were on vacation. You were supposed to go on vacation. He's like, Santi, he's like, someone did that for me. All I asked from you is to do it to someone else. You know, that's what we keep doing.
Yeah, bro. And that's the program in essence. It's like the thing that motivates, that perpetuates the 12-step program is that keep coming back and you can't keep what you have unless you give it away. Yeah. And it's like that little like engine is just flawless, bro. It's like we don't need to pay nobody. We don't need to like entice anybody. It's like, bro, once you get clean and someone does you like a service, we just ask you to pay it forward. And the fact that the fellowship's been able to expand on solely that is like an act of God, bro. It's really insane.
Dude, I use that just as a model for the treatment center. Like I like to say like we have a farm system, like in baseball.
Yeah.
You know, the best staff is people who've been here. And like we're like 50-50.
Yeah, with alumni. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and it's awesome. I have outreach guys, a couple of them that went through the program. Like, how cool is that? You know,
my alumni guy is the alumni himself too. Is awesome.
Like, you know, kids when they first come in here, I don't know, I don't care where you're at. They're like, Mom, they got me in Lake Worth. This place is a shit. I got offered drugs. Like, you need to bring me home because I'm gonna get high here. Blah blah blah. The kids, the outreach guy is like, dude, that's not happening. Like, that, you have to talk to the parents because the mom's like, I bought him a flight. He's coming back here. He's not safe over there. It's like, no, that's a disease. He's not.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine. Give him 3 days. It's like some magical thing happens in 3 days.
Yeah.
I feel like I tell him, I'm like, you're just in a new place. You don't know the noises that make that.
You piss it out in 3 days, right?
No, it's like you just feel like somebody's gonna kill you in those first 3 days, or like someone's gonna steal your shit.
It's just uncomfortable and it's new, you know.
I'm like that. I travel somewhere. The first night's not a good night.
Yeah,
you know, I'm like getting used to the noises in the hotel room. Or this and that. The second night's a little bit better. By the third night, I'm like, yo, I could stay here another week, you know?
Of course. There's something about, you know, that initial first couple of days that everybody is just not feeling like they want to be there, bro. No one's, it's half physical. Half of it is just your physical body telling you to get back to wherever you were because that was feeling nice, you know? So it's like
more of a warning sign if they're like too comfortable the first.
Whatever.
Like, yo, are you trying to bring out?
Like when I have like I'll put in a scholarship or something, and whenever they're like, yeah, he's doing great, I'm like, I'm like, what's going on with him? He's doing So my favorite client is the client that comes in rambunctious, acting, you know, a little crazy and aggressive and doesn't want to be there, and then they turn around. But like when someone comes in slow and mellow, they usually end up becoming aggressive or not wanting to be there later on.
100%.
So it's like, and I always feel like if someone has a difficult treatment stay, that means that they are working on things.
Yeah, I agree.
When someone just totally coasts, and a lot of times a therapist, like, he was a great client. Well, he like made your job easier. You know what I mean? You know, he made your job easier, but I don't think
he's smoking crack for no reason.
Yeah, I don't know if he did a lot of work in treatment. So
some of our most difficult clients have been the best clients
and the best success stories.
Yeah. Because you're right. They're doing work, and they could tell other clients that are struggling. They're like, "Yo, I didn't want to be here."
Exactly, and it's like they're not wearing a mask. When I was a tech at this treatment center in almost like Boca area, I remember I was working there, and there was this dude who used to come in, and the first day he came in, I love this guy, bro. He got all the clients to read the Just for Today at 8 a.m. before the van. He would like run groups after at night when everyone was bored. He got a whole little campfire going. And I was like, bro, this guy's the man. As soon as he left, he used. And then he came back and he would do it again. And then he came back and he would do it again. After the third time, I'm like, all right, bro, you got to stop with all that bullshit. Because a lot of times it's performative. Yeah. It's performative. Right? Like the dentist that doesn't brush their teeth. You know what I mean? He's just trying to fix everybody else, you know? And in treatment, I think like there's only like 7 different types of personalities. It's like, you got the guy who's like the recovery captain. You got the constant AMAer. You got like the mom. Yeah, you got the mom, the alcoholic mom. Yeah, the depressed alcoholic mom. You got the sports guy who if he didn't get injured, he wouldn't have had a problem or whatever. Like the painkiller. Yeah.
So like, my parents wanted me here.
My parents wanted me here.
I'm doing this for probation.
Yeah, I'm only doing this for probation. The drug dealer. Yeah, you got the fake drug dealer that their mom sends them like packages and stuff. The wannabe tough guy. And it's like, there's only so many different personalities, but it's like every one of those people changes. But it's important. Like I always tell the clients, like it's important to know, like, who are you? Are you the guy who complains about the food? Are you that guy? And it's like, you might be, that's totally fine, bro. But once you stop doing that, it's going to be someone else will take up that role. Yeah. So it's like we all play a role in treatment as like who we want to be. And it's like, the main thing that I tell people is just like focus on what you need to work on. And like when you wake up, think about what you need to work on today, because it's so easy and life is like that, bro. How often do we live life just thinking about what other people need to be doing?
No, and I love like the whole treatment thing because I think addicts are some of like the most special, an addict that's working a program. I think they're superheroes, right? There's people out there using that are going to change the world. And maybe not change the world, but make a better place.
For sure.
And we need to get them clean, Like, because, dude, we could do, like, amazing things. Like, my dream, too, in like, the future is to have a treatment center, like, even a farm style. Like, you know how they did, like, Homies, the nacho chips in California? It's, like, run by a bunch of ex-gang members, and they created like these tortilla.
The bakery people?
No, they make chips. I don't know too much about it, but they make like tortilla chips, and it's all run by ex-gang members, and they're like highly successful. I want a business that's like run by addicts and that's thriving, and you get people that are old executives, and whatever people bring to the table, they bring,
Dunklin's like that. So Dunklin is like a nonprofit. It's a hardcore religious program. Even the Salvation Army, like Dunklin and Salvation Army and stuff like that, like those programs are all ran by people who have been through the program. It's so hardcore. They have a pallet company.
They have a pallet.
So they have a pallet company where in the morning, bro, you're up at 4 a.m. making pallets, and then like you start classes like at noon, and it's like, bro, they have a thriving business, and everything's based on like an alumni thing. It's super strict and religious. That's why like some people don't like it, because it's like crazy religious. That would be really cool to have like an addiction treatment center that is the nonprofit that basically runs itself, and
self-sustaining, pays their way.
Yeah. I'll never forget, I took this kid on the interview process, bro. This kid, rest in peace, Richard Michael. He didn't stay clean, and he passed away, but he was there for like 2 years, and he stayed clean those whole 2 years. I'll never forget, bro. I took him on the interview process, and this guy who was like the chaplain, think about it, he has like interviewed, like, bro, if you're going to a 9-month Christian program, you got nothing going on. You got no options, bro. Like for you agree to be like, yo, I'm going to a place for 9 months that's straight religious, straight working in the hot sun, but your ass is so on fire that this seems like a fresh water, And I'll never forget, bro, and the guy who works there must have interviewed thousands of people that are down on their last leg, for real. And I'll never forget, dude, he did this interview process. He asked the kid, like, does your family want to come in? And he's like, the only person I know is Brian. And like, dude, it was crazy because his family lives in Philly, right? I remember when I went in there, they were like, we haven't had a non-family member in the interview in years.
Wow.
But I don't know why the chaplain is allowing you to go in here, because you're not family. But I guess he feels like they need someone in the interview in case they need to ask questions or something, And bro, he asked this kid like 7 questions. And after the first question, he was crying. He was like, you have a car? And the kid was like, yeah. And he goes, who pays your car? He goes, my dad. He goes, your dad pays your car? How old are you? He goes, 28. He's like, you're 28, your dad pays your car? Why do you think he does that? And bro, the kid just started crying. And bro, his ability to cut through people, like all the bullshit, like bro, you're 28, your dad pays your car.
Snatching that ego.
And it's like, bro, the room was silent. It's just like, and bro, this kid just started crying. And like, bro, even when I would go visit him there, it's still like one of my best memories of him because while he was there, he was clean and doing good.
Welcome to the Genesis House powered by the United Recovery Project, located in sunny South Florida. We offer drug and alcohol addiction treatment, as well as a major focus on dual diagnosis. Our addiction therapy programs include behavioral therapy, 12-step facilitation, psychotherapy, life skills training, and more. At our facility, you can expect a low client-to-staff ratio, daily group therapy, weekly one-on-one therapy sessions, and luxury amenities such as volleyball, basketball, pool, chiropractor, personal trainer, yoga, massage therapy, and more. Contact the United Recovery Project today and let's create a better tomorrow.
And I still talk to his parents, and it's like, what you're talking about, the trauma, like, you know, I'm writing a book right now, like Hell Has an Exit, which is about like your first year in recovery and like the do's and don'ts of recovery. And it's like, when I got clean, I never anticipated to go through so many deaths and like what happens. And it's like, in recovery, people think like you get clean and it's over. Well, when people die, people think like, well, you die and then that's it. Like you have a funeral or whatever and it's over. And it's not like that. Bro, I still get text messages from 2 a.m. from his dad being like, I miss Michael.
Damn.
And it's 2 a.m, bro. I'm just thinking about, bro, this dude's dad's laying at night, 2 a.m, doesn't even know who to text.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, bro, and I'm part of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, bro, as treatment center owners or as like people in recovery long term, like we deal with so many hardcore involvement with the family.
Yeah, I hold on to like those good stories, man.
Yeah, of course.
And I remember, and then I talk to the clients, I always think in the back of my head, like, yo, this might be the last time I talk to him. Because like one of the first kids that passed away, he was trying to AMA from our place, and I knew him well. He had this girlfriend, and
it's always a girl.
Yeah.
That was Richard's problem, bro. When he was single and focused on himself, bro, he was focused. And then, bro, the girl would always become his higher power.
It'll be the trigger.
Dude, he was trying to AMA. Like, remember 8 years ago when there was all these like flop houses and you could fuck no curfew.
Smoke weed, bring your girlfriend.
Yeah. And he was trying to go to one of those places. And I was like, Adam, this isn't a good idea, man. That's not a good place. And he had just a rebuttal for everything I was saying.
And they think that your place, you're just trying to pitch your place.
Yeah. You're like I have skin in the game.
Yeah,
like
I have a dog in the fight. Yeah, it's crazy.
But I'm like, I made it a point. I'm like, I don't think you're safe over there. Like, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day, he fucking OD'd, died there. And then his mom came in. Like, we had like a vigil in Lake Worth Beach. Good kid, man. Really good kid, man. Just so sad, man.
It's surreal, right? Like the deaths. Like you're more involved with that, which is like one of the things that like in a part of my journey is like I'm doing like some breath therapy or whatever, which is teaching me how to like lean into those feelings, right? That used to give me trauma, right? That's part of my journey right now to get closer to the fellowship. Cause like the first part of my journey, I fucking was like very terrified. I'm very judgmental, very terrified of like getting close to people, being vulnerable, blah, 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 whatever. But now in the journey, man, it's like the compassion, trying to get close to people, feel those feelings. It's tough, bro. You know what I mean? It's hard, bro. Like all the people that died, you know, in 2020, the people that,
bro.
You know, and then anybody, you know, the people that are suffering, just the suffering, dog, like even clean, right? Like I know people fucking suffering, you know what I mean? And they're at meetings, they're doing everything that supposedly, right? You know, and then just life is just difficult, man. And it's just challenging, man. And like during 2020, you know, people would show up, I'd say what's up to them, and then next thing you know, it's like, yo, so-and-so OD'd and they died. I'm like, what the fuck? You're never gonna talk to them again. You know, I'll talk on one that's like, you know, that we all know, Jay Lean, right? You know, Jay, I still can't believe that one. You know what I mean? Because
I can't believe he survived so long.
That too. But then also too,
he had cheated death 1,000 times in front of my eyes.
1,000. And then also too, then I also look back, I wish I would have been more present with him. You know what I'm saying? Because my journey was still kind of like arm's distance with him, you know?
Towards the end, his last like 4 years, I had kept him at such an arm's length because he was so...
I was scared
bro, this dude was so toxic and crazy and angry. I'm grateful that towards the end we like mended our relationship as friends, and I was like, bro, I love you, and like we had talked, you know. But it's like, man, addicts will drain you. And Will G said something once, and I remember he said like, you know, you don't gotta help everybody. Sometimes it's someone else's turn to help them. Because it's like, bro, sometimes in recovery, addicts will make you feel guilty that you need to help me always. You need, oh, you're a good guy. And they like, oh, you act like you care about me and you don't even do this or whatever. And it's like, we become their family. It's like, bro, their family already cut them off. So we become the next victims to torment. And it's like, we have to reestablish boundaries and protect our own mental health too. And it's like, you know, I want to help people that also want to help themselves. You know, if you're not taking suggestions, at what point, like, am I just like a voicemail that you just dump shit on? You know,
I get to the point because, like, if my recovery can't overpower their disease, like, their disease will start winning me, and I'll start fucking being like, you know what?
Lee will try to get me to fight him. He wants to get you on spiritual. He wants to make you so mad that you like put down the recovery stuff and just hit him. You know? And it's like,
no, I get that. It's that disease trying to fucking win. And I tell people in treatment that work in treatment too, I was like, you got to go to your own meetings because like, yo, you're filled with disease here. Like you have to go back to the well and drink and be able to overpower the disease that's around here because like until they can get some like recovery of their own, the clients, like then it makes the whole place better. But
one of my closest friends when I first got clean, this dude, Chris, he's able to make money, bro. He's super successful, but his whole thing is that he builds it up and then, you know, knocks it all down. Builds it up and knocks it all down. Builds it up and knocks it all down. And it's like, bro, he's worked the steps. He's had a sponsor. He's done all these things. And he was like, Brian, what am I doing wrong? And I was like, bro, the reason why you're using is not because you didn't master the 12 steps. Not using is just the first step. So if you're having a problem with using, you're just not doing the first step. Not using is about having a first step. There are people that only have a first step and they don't have any of the other ones. And we know, and they don't know nothing about any relationships, business, whatever. But then you got people that got all the other knowledge and they don't have a first step. So it's like, you know, you got to master that one thing. And the second part is just consistency. Bro, if you're able to stay clean for a year, you've proven to everybody and yourself that you're able to do it. But guess what happens? The job becomes more important. The girl becomes more important. The ego starts to kick in. And then you go from being, you know, the student to now you think you're the teacher. And you lose that humility and you stop learning shit. And then before you know it, you're using it again.
Remember Little Dude? Little Dude used to always say, if I work the steps, I'm only ahead of it. I'm ahead of my disease a couple of, steps if I work the steps. And what I like about that kind of saying is that, and what I've experienced in my journey is that like, sometimes we're not thinking further enough. You know what I mean? We get clean and then we're like, oh, I just want the car. I just want the house and the girl. And then you get there, and then you realize, like, yo, this is fucking miserable. You know what I mean? The house, the girl, you know what I mean? The job, the business. And it's because we're not thinking in all different, like, layers, right? Like, oh, what's happening? Like, what kind of partner are you going to have when you get there? Like, what kind of residence you want to live? What kind of bills you want to maintain? You know, where's your contentment? You know what I mean? What's the next step, right? And I think people just wants that instant gratification of like social like acceptability, and then you get there, and then there's all these other mechanics and skills that you need to maintain this, and you don't have it, bro. And then that I see, at least that's where I found myself plenty of times getting to that place, and then just being like, holy fuck, this shit sucks, bro. And what's next?
And it's like, you know, there's a difference between like getting to a place and then becoming the person who goes to those places. You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes we end up at this place, but we haven't became the person we need to be to stay there. Even like I look at like jiu-jitsu. It's like, you know, in jiu-jitsu, you just want to get the next belt to the next belt. And it's like, bro, you don't want to be a blue belt who sucks getting beat up by white belts. So it's like, bro, be careful, because when you get that other stripe, you're gonna have to act the way people with two stripes. You have to maintain this level.
Me and Mario were talking about that. Like we hope people have a slow recovery.
Yeah.
Like me and Mario, we suffered, man. We were working we were poor.
I learned everything I learned to maintain success when I was poor.
Yeah.
When I didn't have anything, bro. Everything I needed, I learned my first 5 years clean being broke.
My first 5 years, it was more
We were
married.
We were roommates.
I would wake up in the morning, go to school, finish school about 11, had like a quick gym session, had to bring all my clothes.
With a fucking water heater problem.
Yeah, I used to have to bring a jug of water because the radiator
would overheat.
No AC.
That shit was gold.
It was a hand-me-down, right? And then I'd go to the gym, come home, change, go to my job, work there,
Movie theater.
try to finish before the 10 o'clock so I could go to Boca Pines, hit a meeting, and then I'd be exhausted by night, then do it all over again. That was like the first 5-7 years. I didn't even have time for relationships and then Mario used to be like, yo, you got to have tunnel vision. And I had that. I was like, it was like the discipline. That I was building a foundation. And around me, like you have to have blinders because people were getting rich in the fucking call centers.
Yeah, and you gotta be
I watched so many hustles go by in South Florida, like timeshare recovery,
moving,
fucking diamond blades. I don't know what they were selling so much stuff. And my friends were making a ton of money. But then some of them would relapse, with all this money. And like you were saying, sometimes you're not prepared. Like I wasn't prepared to be rich at that point,
Yeah, not just that. Like when I first got clean, when I used to like see my friends' paychecks, I used to be like, bro, don't give me that. Like, bro, I know my ego would get crazy. I'd stop going to meetings. Like I knew I couldn't handle that at that moment. I learned the benefit of going slow, and I learned like the benefit of like having that pause button. And I believed in like the third step of like, bro, there's something greater for me later, And it's like that old saying, like, if someone gave me 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 6 of them sharpening the blade. So it's like a lot of people spend no time sharpening the blade. They never chop the tree down. Even now, like I tell my friend, like, do people think like I've arrived or like I'm somebody now? I still believe I'm still sharpening. I haven't even started to cut down. So it's like, bro, with 15, coming up on 15 years clean, like, bro, I still think like, bro, I'm just now getting sharper and sharper,
And I've been around long enough to know, like, yo, this shit the position I'm in now, like, dude, we're in healthcare. Like rules change.
I felt more security working at the mall.
I feel the same way because each year, like they cut payments for this and that. Like they make it harder and harder.
And then when you have like these bills, right, and when you try to like accumulate whatever, right, it gets scary, right?
Yeah.
Because the nut is so big. You be like,
I got kids now too. I got a whole family. My mom and dad work. It becomes like.
But then it goes back to like what he said about like those experiences at the beginning of what helps you carry them on, and that's why like me and him, dog. Yo, we didn't have nothing, man. Like we were poor. You when you dropped off that sofa when I was getting divorced, dog. Yo, he dropped off a sofa, man, and it was crazy, man. Like, that's all I had was the sofa. And I couldn't even afford to have the $150 that they were charging me for delivery was going to break me, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, I didn't have a comma in my bank account until I had 5 years clean, and it was only when the fast food would come in. So it's like, bro, only my financial aid was the first time I would ever see.
Taxes.
I didn't even work that much. I was in school, so I never got money for taxes.
I took my tax return and bought a condo because his brother-in-law was like hustling mortgages, and he was, and it was a crossroad. I was in recovery, and I had this check that came in from the IRS for like 20 grand, and it was like back taxes I had done. And I was like, man, I could buy an Infinity right now. That's what I wanted, right? An Infinity. It was like back in the days.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I could buy a brand new car. And I was just like glorifying in my head like all the attention I was gonna get, the places we gonna go. And I was like, nah. He was like, yo, you should get a home. And I ended up getting a home with that. And like, yo, that thing ended up being a fucking fire ass asset. And it goes back to what it says, the slow aspect, you know what I mean? Everything needs to be slow. It's like wealth takes time, man. It does not happen overnight. I've seen dudes make money like crazy. Like, there's dudes out there spending money, and you're like, bro, do you realize that's not normal? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not normal for 95% of the people on this planet. Are you like not realizing that? And I get to see that more prevalent because of like the work that I do. But, you know what I mean? Like in my journey, man, it just like, like those earlier years, man, that slow recovery, like I never thought I'd get to this point, honestly. I was just like, it's gonna be hard for me, whatever. I'll be grateful making $52,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what my brain was at, bro. I was just like, $52,000 and no child support, I'll be good at that point. And like now it's like, wow, God, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We're on this kick lately where we're like, life is so good, we're trying to prolong it.
Yeah.
We're trying to find the
fountain of youth.
Yeah. Yeah, we're listening to one of our guys, Professor Sinclair.
Aura rings.
Yeah. No, we listen to this guy, Professor Sinclair from Harvard.
6 hours, baby. Try to get more sleep.
Professor Sinclair from Harvard says like the first 150-year-old human is alive right now. Because they've made a huge advancement in in cells, and they're like saying that
and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're saying like the cells, how they generate, it's not like hardware. They have like a software that tells you to age, and they found a way to like throw that
stop aging.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm to the point where like, yo, I need more time on this earth.
I'm trying to clone myself.
No.
So I can do the podcast and be at work.
Yo, facts. But like you said, now, like, life is good, man. Like, I'm very content, man. Like, and that was, like, difficult, man. Because I remember fucking at 10 years clean, bro. Like, just suffering, bro. And just, like, walking around just miserable and not understanding why. And if I could go back and, like, just talk to my earlier self, it was just really the connection. I didn't really open myself up to the fellowship how you did. You know, I was very closed off because of my own traumas, right? But I realize now that, like, for me, man, like, one of the most beautiful things in life is the connection with people, bro. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, that similarities, right? Like that bonding aspect. And, like, yo, man, like, having you guys in my life and just being from, like, where we're from, man, it's like a blessing, bro. Like that alone, I can't even go out there and hang out with new people because I'll be betraying my friends.
It's camaraderie. I mean, I read a lot of, like, military books, and it's like, bro, in the military, it's like, bro, they're fighting a war they don't even agree on. You know what I mean? Bro, they're risking their lives every day. And the only reason why they do it is because I don't want to let you do it alone. So it's like, bro, sometimes the only reason why I'm going to this meeting at 10 o'clock at night after I woke up at 5 a.m., went to the gym, came home, tired as fuck, did a podcast, did jiu-jitsu, went to this meeting. The only reason I go is because, bro, I know other people out there fighting. And, like, bro, I don't want to leave people hanging. Not that, like, I think I'm so powerful, but it's like, bro, I remember what it was like when I would go to the meeting and there was still that one cat that was still there. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, it's refreshing.
It was like an anchor, right?
Yeah, bro. You feel
like fresh air.
Everybody is Steve Case here.
Yeah,
you feel like you lost that sea and you see that lighthouse, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like,
no, but I feel like the process of recovery, you have ups and downs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like the best thing, like I've actually been able to experience Mario's like rejuvenation for this program. I think the thing is when you don't use, you can come back and get there again. You know, like like recovery is like, you know, it's ups and downs.
Of course.
You know,
you were telling me like we got to end the podcast soon, but I just want to hear about how like you were in the pandemic and you started listening to the pod, because I didn't know you listened to it up until like a year ago, probably.
Oh man, like it was during the pandemic. It was especially in my area. There wasn't a lot of meetings going on. It was like speakeasy. Like you would hear like there's a meeting going on and they let you hug out there. And
you gotta get there before 6.
Yeah. If code enforcement comes, disperse.
Yeah, but then that's when I found your the podcast, and it was like going to a fire meeting.
Yeah.
And I think even Mario was on it, and like it like triggered me. Yeah. And then you would always talk about steps in there, and you'd be like, "Yo, it's like." You had an analogy of like, yo, if you're not doing steps, it's like you like not going to the graduation or something. You said something like that. I don't know. It was like never getting the benefit of it. It triggered me to.
Right about that.
It's like winning the lottery and not cashing the check.
Yeah.
It's even like yo, you don't even need to be an addict to benefit from like. So it's crazy to me. Like if you have the knowledge, you know what I mean, and then you like relapse or whatever, whatever journey you go through, man, you still got that knowledge. Just tap back into it, because that shit's like fucking magic, yo. Yeah. Like when we were talking about applying this to like all our affairs, like in business, when you apply it to business, bro, like I used to think motherfuckers had to be sharks, right? Because I grew up in a pool of sharks, bro. Just dudes that were fucking showing me entrepreneurship. They were animals, dog. And they were the type of dudes that would fucking cut you and then want to have dinner with you and your wife later. And I'm like, yo, dog, I can't even afford to pay my bills now. You know what I mean? And like, I grew up, I groomed in that area. And when Santi was real refreshing, because like, we had some dealings, and then we came across each other, and he was like, man, you don't have to do it like that, bro. You could really just be a good person and get shit done. And it changed my perspective, man. Once I applied this to like, my business, to like my personal life, just the fundamentals, the basics, you know what I'm saying? Like fucking just perseverance, just fucking courage, right? Like all that shit, personal integrity, the peace that it brings into your life, bro, is beyond my wildest dreams. Because that's what I strive for now. Contentment, connection, and God. You know what I mean? Like, those are my things right now, man. Because, like, yo, if I'm content, I'm not worried about your shit. You know what I'm saying? If I'm content, I got everything that I need and some of the shit that I want. You know what I'm saying? If I'm content, I'm at peace. If I'm at peace, man, I'm able to share that peace with other people. And if I have connection, I'm able to really get close to you. You know what I mean? And the God thing, man, is just like, I used to hate the God thing in the literature. I used to think because it was an occult, when you first open the old blue book, it talks about that. And I used to get deep with that. But like, fuck it, if it's an occult, fuck it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love having you guys, my occult members, you know what I'm saying? Like, but all jokes aside, it's not. It's really a way of life, man. It's a philosophy, man. It's a way of thought, man. Like how you were saying like that. You can't keep what you have unless you give it away. That's a fundamental principle that I practice in my business. I share information with people. I know people who are hoarders of information, right? They don't want to tell nobody. I share stuff with people, and I'll tell you what, man, it ends up benefiting me more to share and create community with people than it does to hoard information.
And that's a scarcity mindset, because I remember like one of my mentors, I remember he was telling me all this stuff, and I was just like, so-and-so wanted to pick your brain about something. It was like the worst thing, and he was just like, yeah, sure, tell him to call me. And then I remember being like, you don't ever feel like maybe you shouldn't be telling everyone this? And he was like, why? Someone told me it. Yeah. And it's like, sometimes I struggle with that, where it's like, I feel like if someone else gets the information, they're going to saturate the market or whatever. And it's like, I'm learning to become more open about, everything, because it's like, I don't want to have that scarcity mindset where it's like, if you win, it means that I'm not winning. Yeah. So it's like, I try to tap into like, just because you win doesn't mean that I lost. It's like, bro, I could root for you and know that you won, and like I could win too,
going back to your podcast, like it was during the pandemic, and I got to a place where like I thought I arrived. Like I got to a place where like I dreamed of. I wasn't going to meetings. All the meetings were closed. I was trying to do some Zoom, and then like I'd get packages of shoes and like open them, and I'd be like, dude, I don't even remember ordering this, and just throw them in. I had so many shoes that I didn't even like open, and I was like, dude, this shit I'm not happy. And like, so I would listen to the podcast, and it was like, that good feeling from a meeting. And like it triggered that, and then I'd start calling my sponsees and being like, yo, we should do some step work. We'll start it off on Zoom. We went through the first 3 steps, and I talked to Mario, and I never thought Mario would be like, yo, let me get on that. I was like,
starving, dog. I was starving. I was in an island, dog, in Miami. I had fucking selling my house. You were the only lifeline I had, Brian.
Yo, it was so cool because I'm like working the steps with my sponsees, and then I have my old sponsor. Like it was like refreshing, and then that's like sparked this like thing. And I've watched like Mario's rejuvenation, which has been like fucking. And now he's like plugged in the middle. He's got us in the fucking the group chat. Yeah. He's on fire for recovery, and it triggers me to get back in. And like this is where I'm I'm the happiest I am.
No, there's not. I know.
We've had it all.
This is where
I've been everywhere. I've had the fucking
the cafecito and the mountains.
Shit. We've had it all, tasted it all, you know what I mean? And thank God for that. But yo, there's nothing better than this feeling right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I feel safe. You know what I'm saying?
No, and I'm happy. Like, dude, my sense of humor is better. My outlook, my patience is a little bit better when I'm working a pro. Like, everything's better. Like, I enjoy the things I have. My kids are cool when I'm working a program. You know, like, my wife's great when I'm working a program.
Facts.
And like, dude, my life is so good, man.
Just to kind of build off, because you were over here, man, just to see Santi go through whatever he went through. He even went like the whole college thing. He got a philosophy degree, and even though he doesn't like work in his whole actual like field, it's about the character building steps that he went through when he went to college.
And the ability to start something and finish it.
Bro.
Yeah.
Like, people
no, it's time management. I tell my wife that all the time. But it's like, yo, I learned that in college. Like, yo, and when I had to, like when I had class and I had to leave to try to squeeze a gym in there.
How can I get nerds to do the work?
Yeah, it's by any means possible, right?
GPT back then. Yeah, no, 1,000. So seeing all that, man, and then seeing where he's at. You know, I always tell people, because people, when they would come around and they'd be like, what's Santi up to? And I'll be like, yo, Santi's going to land exactly where he wants to land. Because you're like one of those dudes, dog, that I always believe that you were tapped into, like, the manifestation and realization in your brain, like that kinetic energy, right? And, like, because I've seen you, and people will fucking count you out and be like, nah, he ain't going to do it. And we look back now, bro, and it's like, whoa. Like, Santi really just did everything that he said he was going to do, and he ended up where he needed.
And not just that, it's like sometimes I think about like when I would take meetings when I first opened, and like I'd meet with like these executives and like all these business people and like these sharks. And it's like, bro, 99% of them are in jail or flopped or went out of business or went bankrupt or became too aggressive and too greedy. And it's like, to be standing now in Florida and still, you know, flourishing in like the industry that we're in, the only people that have survived are really the good places. Like I was telling my friend who was on the podcast, he has the treatment center too. It's like, bro, if you're alive now, it's like, it's a real testament that like, you know, good does prevail, you know? So, hey, I appreciate you guys coming to the podcast. I love you guys. And
I want to say one thing before
yes, sir,
you get
yes,
out,
sir.
man. I want to thank you, man, personally,
Hey, no problem.
man,
I appreciate you.
Podcast, bro, because like, yo, like no cap, man, it's like a time capsule. You've been able to like really like memorialize and archive a lot of people that have come through like, you know, our areas. Yo, it's beautiful that you're doing this.
I try to be like the Nori of recovery, you know? It's like, so I try to give people their flowers, you know what I mean? Because like, this is really like a memorial of like people that are still alive, that have done a lot for the program and done a lot for other addicts. And it's like, it's easy to open up the news and see all these people dying of fentanyl. It's easy to like point the finger at what people are doing wrong, but it's like, there's so much hope that I see going to meetings that like people don't see on TikTok and social media or whatever. So it's like, imagine, bro, this is episode 113. That means that there's 113 people we had on the show that have multiple years clean, that have powerful messages, that have been through adversity. And it's like, when I started the show, I remember I interviewed with like this production company, and they were like, how are you going to find these people? I was like, bro, it's endless. There's literally a sea. Yeah, bro. There's a sea of us just out there, bro. I don't have enough episodes. There aren't enough episodes or time in the world to highlight how many people have beat addiction and beat it on a continuous basis. So.
And what's cool is like that part where you said, like, we were talking about jiu-jitsu, where you were like, yo, look at these jiu-jitsu people. You won't even know it that they're jiu-jitsu. Same thing with the recovery and on this podcast, man. You bring some people on and you might look at them and be like, I wonder what do they do or who are they, right? And when you get into the story, you're like, what the fuck, man? These people are miracles.
We're bagging your groceries. We're doing your taxes. You know what I mean? Hey, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. This show is not affiliated with any specific 12-step program. If you or a loved one is struggling with an addiction, please find a local 12-step meeting. If you believe you may need detox or drug treatment of any kind, please call 833-999-1877 to speak to a specialist. This show is sponsored by United Recovery Project, a state-of-the-art drug and alcohol rehab facility. You can visit our website at unitedrecoveryproject.com.